national tragedy. Two airplanes have crashed into the World Trade Center in an apparent terrorist attack on our country.
On September 11th, I was asleep in an airliner over the middle of the United States. We took off from JFK, and I remember looking down as we took off. We're looking down from altitude at the World Trade Center, at the Empire State Building, at the UN building, and the river. And there wasn't a cloud in the sky, pretty sunny, beautiful day, and everything looked peaceful. And I don't think I've ever seen New York look that peaceful.
I was traveling to work. I live in Redlands, and I'm either listening to the radio or I'm playing my CDs. And I must have been playing my CDs because halfway to Moreno Valley, I switched over to the radio and couldn't quite understand what I was hearing.
I was driving to work to Moreno Valley Unified School District offices on Alessandro Boulevard.
I was at home, laying in bed still, because it was fairly early in the morning, and I got a phone call, and they said, "Are you watching TV?" I said, "No." And they said, "They'll turn on TV. You won't believe what's happening."
My brother actually told me, "Come look, there's something on the television that you see." I saw the images, and I actually thought it was a movie. I thought I was joking around.
I went to sleep, and when I woke up, the attack had just happened.
When I first heard about it, it must have been about a little before 7, maybe around 7 o'clock, and so at that time, the events, nobody was really certain about what had happened. All they knew is that some planes had crashed into, or a plane at that time, I think, had crashed into the World Trade Center.
And I came into the office and saw chaos, panic, people actually very worried about what had happened.
Well, it was pretty surreal in the cockpit because you wake up and you look around and everybody is looking at the same program on the TV sets. Each chair had a TV set in the back of it. They were all tuned, it appeared, to the same station. And you could hear a pin drop in the entire airplane. I didn't know what was going on. I sensed something was out of the ordinary, but I didn't know what. Put on the earphones, and about that time, I think, that's when the second airplane hit.
Oh my God, what just happened? Kind of trying to figure out what was going on, and then they switched over to the Pentagon and showed what happened at the Pentagon, and I was just in awe of what was happening, and like most people, not really understanding what was really happening at the time.
I started watching it, and I'm thinking this is a joke, and I watched the second plane hit, and I just screamed. I really thought it was just a horrible, cruel joke that somebody was playing on television. I couldn't fathom that it had happened.
Oh my God, just like shock. What's going on here? Who did this? How did this happen? And just like watching it a little bit at a time, and then just to see the buildings go down, oh, just like you couldn't believe it.
The disbelief, the feeling that I had of what had happened. When I came in, I saw the gravity of it. I saw the images over and over again, and again, helplessness kind of went over me, and something that I wanted to help, and I couldn't.
Seeing it graphically, time and again, the planes hitting the building and realizing the loss of life, it was just, it was unbearable for all of us.
You can't really get your head around it initially. You're sitting there saying, okay, I know what I'm seeing, but I can't really believe it. And then it settles in, and then the same questions roll through your mind as everybody else. You know, what does this mean? What happens now?
Well, it was quite horrific to see what was occurring, and fortunately they grounded all the airplanes, so I went nowhere and came back to Moreno Valley to see what we needed to do in the city for the Sheriff's Department to make sure that we were had things in place in the event something were to occur on the West Coast.
Well, by 8 o'clock in the morning, our time, I got a phone call that said we're on standby. By 10 o'clock they said be there in an hour. So I was already packed. At 8 o'clock I started packing my gear, and I was at Riverside City, Station 3, which is our departure point, by 10 o'clock that morning.
When you get to ground zero, the actual place of where it happened, you notice the government agencies, the local police, the construction workers working around the clock. You see the worry on their people's faces.
One of the things that really bugs me is this guy from New York who came up to me and told me, he sat down next to us when we were taking a break, and he said, you know what, my dad and my brother and my cousin are in that pile. And it just, the look on his face and the people there, pretty incredible.
What brought me to tears was a cross made out of steel beams right where the World Trade Center was. That was tough. I was there with my two sons, and they didn't want to stay there long. They said it was painful, and it was painful. I stayed there probably a half hour and said, I've seen enough, but I had to be there.
It was totally different, actually, than television. It was surreal. The images, the smell, everything got to me because I was actually there. It was emotional because of the images I saw of family members putting up of the victims. Where is my mom? Where is my dad? Teddy bears, candle vigils. And when you're actually there, it's, again, so many different emotions hit you. Helplessness, anger, but then some feeling of that you're doing something more because you're there now, and some sense of satisfaction that you're helping, at least in a little way.
It was quite a sight. It was very surreal. The site of the World Trade Center was hallowed ground. It was to see the people working, to see the New Yorkers, of which I have no contact other than when they're here on the West Coast. There's a lot of camaraderie, a lot of closeness pulling together. Law enforcement, the fire personnel, and just people in general were very, very appreciative of all the efforts and people coming to their city to see what occurred and provide support.
And I'll tell you that I was really impressed by our country pulling together and the way people work.
We're strong. Our country is strong. We will survive. We have survived, and we will survive.
We all stood stronger and together, and the whole nation just so patriotic, and everybody has joined and united, and you just feel strong that everybody, they did not do what they wanted. They did not take us down.
I think my faith in our nation's ability to respond to a terrorist attack has increased.
I was reading an article in the Wall Street Journal just yesterday of what Tom Ridge is doing with the Homeland Security Department, and this is like the largest reorganization of the federal government since 1947.
And it's unfortunate that it occurred here in the United States. Everything we see is always abroad in other countries, and it can't happen to us. But it's good to know that we're prepared. We're very united in what we need to do in our homeland defense. If they bring the fight here, we'll be very well prepared and ready.
we are onto you. This was your 9/11 was your last chance to get at us, and we are united. We are committed to peace.
We're all Americans, and whatever you do, you're not gonna take us down. No, it just made us feel. We all feel stronger together.
It's hard to believe it's all a year. I pray for us all. And God bless America. Let's roll.